Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing my Q&A and I'm going to be doing it a little bit different than my last one because the last time I did it I just sat in front of my camera for hours and pretty much just answered questions, which was a bit boring. So this time around I'm actually going to be heading to London if I manage to get there, because every single train seems to be getting either delayed or cancelled. And at London, my sister lives down there at the moment because she's studying for university, so she knows a lot of hotspots. But I also want to visit a lot of anime/manga kind of stores, do a bit of like a manga haul hopefully at the end, and I'll have my Q&A somewhere in the video, so I'll put that timestamp right here now. So if you want to skip to the Q&A, you're more than welcome to, but if you want to stick around and see me go around good old London, then yeah, stick around. So yeah, the train got delayed and you could probably hear loads of announcements just right behind me. And I've been sat here for about an hour 45 minutes and I've still got about another 45 minutes to wait. So I'm sat here with my Costa and just chilling. I mean, yeah. The first store I popped into was just a 5-minute walk from Euston Station called Gaze the Word. It's the UK's oldest LGBT bookshop and it was a really cute and cosy store with a ton of queer literature. There were shelves upon shelves of books ranging from all genres. Of course, I had to get a favourite of mine that I've been wanting to get for quite a while. After that, I then took a very interesting stop, which eventually led me to my hotel. Oh my days, it is so hot outside. Oh my god, I forget how hot London actually is in comparison to Birmingham. So I'm finally in the hotel now. It took a while. There was like a delay or something on the underground. I don't know. I managed to figure it out though. I managed to get here. I've checked in a bit early. I was meant to check in anything after 3:30 I think, but I got here and they said that I could come in of free charge, like it was already done and stuff, so I'm not complaining about that. And I've got all my stuff to now set up. So I did, however, buy a book from Gaze the Word, which was Legends and Lattes. And I talked about this on my book cover video. It is a very, very good book. I bought it digitally first, as I do with pretty much all my books, but I enjoyed it so much that I wanted to get it physically. So it's currently 2:55 now. I said I was going to call my sister at 3:30 and let her know when I was sorted in the hotel. So I think I'm going to clean up a bit because look at me. I'm sweating so badly. But other than that, I'm going to get all my stuff ready, clean up a bit, and then we're going to meet up with my sister. Yeah. Let's go. First up was Chrome, where I had this amazing Nutella croissant, which I absolutely devoured. Definitely a really nice dessert place to check out. But then as we were walking about, we noticed whatever this is. And then eventually we arrived at Uzumaki. Oh my god, it was fantastic there. The anime mural was really cool and I managed to get a bit of footage because it was really quiet when we entered, but it soon filled up pretty fast. And then the menu was just a whole collection of anime related foods and drinks with some name drops to Naruto, Food Wars, Spirited Away, One Piece, etc. I absolutely loved it, and even though my sister isn't really big on anime, she still enjoyed the vibes quite a lot too.
Oh.
I mean, they went in.
They went in. I made a little bit of a mess. You did a better job than me.
I ended up with a beautiful curry dish and my sister went with a ramen one, and we both had an onigiri on the side. After that, we went to this really cute little gashapon store, though I didn't really want to gamble for any of the figures because they were like £7 each. And it was kind of the same when we went to Pop Mart too. It was pretty packed in that store as well, like everyone was just tumbling around like sardines. But on the way back to the hotel, I noticed there was this really cool dance performance that everyone was crowded around, and it was just a really lovely little end to the day. Oh my god, I am finally back. I am so drained, so tired. I'm so glad to be back. I put on my, not that you can see them, but I put my pajama bottoms on so quickly. I needed the comfort of pajamas. I've still got the Florence and the Machine shirt on because I didn't fancy showing you guys my pajama top. But before I got into the Q&A, I actually wanted to show something that I bought today actually. But looking at it, the lighting is actually shockingly bad. So let me just fix that real quick. Okay, I think that should be a bit better. It should be at least a bit better than like that normal yellowy room kind of look. So we're going to deal with this for a little bit. The first thing that I wanted to say was, if you were wondering what most of this video was filmed with, it was this little thing. I'm not sponsored or anything. I thought I'd just give it a shout out because of how fantastic I found this camera. You can literally, can I do this whilst holding the mic? It's this small and it does up to 2.7K I think, but it is stuck to 30 frames per second, which is a bit but it's doable. But you can literally deattach it, so that's the camera. How mad is that? I didn't fancy taking this big camera around with me because a lot of phones and stuff get snatched in London and I didn't trust it. Whereas this little thing, like I've had a solid grip on this thing, like no one was stealing this from me. I mean, this literally looks like a knuckle duster, like, so yeah, shout out to Insta360 because this is a great product. But what I wanted to talk about was when I went to Pop Mart, I got this. And the reason I wanted to show this is because I really love the artist behind these figures. Her name is Lily Frame. I'll put her Insta, not that you can see this very well, but I'll put an Insta link down below. I've been a fan of her work for a while, but I got a box that has one of her figures inside of it, but it's one of those where there's no guarantee which one you got. There's a few that you could get, like a good 12 I think. So I'm going to open it up and see which one I've got. This would be an awesome thing to see, by the way, with more artists. They did do an Arcane series, or at least a League of Legends one, because I saw Jinx in one of the view windows and I was like, oh my god, I must have her. She was sold out. But it would be awesome to see more of these kind of figures from more creators because this is amazing. So we've got a cat stand. That's cute. Oh my god, I love it. And that's an actual chain as well. That's awesome. I can't wait to put this on my desk. But I was like, oh my god, I've got to have it. So here we go. Okay, so I've only been sat here for like 10 minutes and my bum is already going numb. So I'm going to try and get into a different position that's a bit more comfier. So just give me a second.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I think I'm in a good position now. I've got my back leaning against the wall, so I feel like I'm not gonna, fall over and slump anytime soon. Good reason, because I have so many questions and so many comments. You guys were absolutely amazing. I've screenshot each and every single one of them and you can see at the bottom how many there are. So we're going to be here a while, but thank you to everyone who asked a question or said a comment. I appreciate you all so much. So let's get started. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. This is going to be editor me. I'm probably going to be butting in maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the video because I really did a lot of yapping and fumbling of my words throughout the Q&A, so you're going to get a little bit of me, editor future me. I just want to clarify before getting into the Q&A, I don't actually say thank you to any of the questions or any of the comments, and the reason for that is because I didn't want a repeat of the last Q&A where I was saying thank you so many times. I think I said it over like 100 times, and the words thank you just became annoying by the end, so I say a massive thank you at the end of the video. Just wanted to clarify that so as I didn't come across as rude. Okay, so the first question. Hey Danny, I hope you have a great time in London this weekend. Keep cool. Trust me, I did. I put so much sunscreen on. If I get burnt, I don't know what else I can do. I can't think of anything original, but if you could go back to the start of your channel with all of your more recent experience, what would you do differently? See, this is a really good question and I feel like I don't actually have a perfect answer because I actually really liked the way I started my channel, and I think if I was to go back and change anything, it might just change everything, like where I am now. Like I'm happy with where I'm at now, so I wouldn't want to go back and change anything. What would I change? I don't know. I think I did my channel pretty organically, and I've definitely grown in my editing skills as I've gone along. So I guess if I was to go back, what would I do differently? I don't think I would. I think I would just stay as I was. Actually, tell a lie. My very first video, I spoke into the microphone the wrong way around. I used the Yeti microphone, the Blue Yeti, and because I'm an idiot, I didn't read the instructions properly and I spoke into it backwards. So if I was to do anything differently, I would speak into it the right way. Have you ever thought about writing an original work, like a manga or a novel? Love your videos, keep it up. Sorry for the bad English. Your English is not bad. You don't need to apologise for that. Editor me here once again. So I did actually answer this in the Q&A, but I waffled so badly, it took me 10 minutes just to answer this question. So hopefully Editor me does a better job of answering. So I actually have 2 books that I'm currently planning and doing drafts through, and I'll speak about both of them separately. So the first novel that I'm working on, I've been working on this for about 3 months now, and it's essentially a Yuri isekai. I don't know if it is technically an isekai. Let me explain. So I haven't figured out character names yet. I have a whole list of character names that I've got to go through. So I'm just going to say main character, other main character for now. But one of the main characters is a villainess in this fantasy world, and she is actually a terrible, terrible villain. And I don't mean terrible as in the sense that she does really bad things. I mean, she's just shockingly bad at her job. She's like a Team Rocket of villains, if you will. Like, she never gets the job done. She never finishes a job. She can never kill the heroes. She can never do anything to stop the heroes from doing their heroic things. She's just a shockingly bad villainess, but she's really charming, she's really funny, and well, she actually ends up getting killed by the hero. But because this is an isekai, she actually gets transferred into another fantasy world where this villainess of this world is actually the most successful, if that's the right word, and cruel villainess who has already killed the hero slash protagonist of her world. She's like top dog villainess. So it's a story that follows a failure villainess who shadows a villainess who is the best of the best, and this best villainess is absolutely sick to the stomach of seeing a villainess who is an absolute failure. You know, she thinks it's disgusting to even call the other woman a villainess, and it's very much a hopefully comedic slow burn of this actual evil villainess slowly softening over the story because the failure villainess comes into her world and shakes things up a bit. But yeah, it's a Yuri, it's slow burn, it's fantasy, it's an isekai. If it technically classes as an isekai, I think it does. There's just no truck gun. But I really want to treat this as an actual book, something that people can hopefully end up buying either digitally or physically. I'm saving up a lot of money to hopefully commission a really good cover artist for the cover, believe it or not, because I really want this to be like an actual book that people can buy. So that was story 1. So the second story is the one I've actually been working on for the longest now. It is still technically in the draft section because I have so much going on outside of this book writing stuff, from my retail work to YouTube, that in the very small time that I have, I work on these 2 stories. So this one, like I said, I've been working on for the longest, and it is a apocalyptic novel that is set in Birmingham in the UK. And there was a few reasons for that. 1, I'm from Birmingham. 2, I feel like Birmingham is a very underutilized setting and city in general. Like, it has some really awesome architecture and just vibes in general, really, that I think would work amazingly for an apocalyptic story. So the main character of this story is called Morgan, and we also have the other main characters, Luke, who is their best friend, and then Hannah, who ends up being the love interest in the story. But this is like, I'm planning for this to be the slowest of slow burns ever. I want this to be slow as hell, but also so enticing. I'm a massive horror fan, and the apocalyptic genre, specifically the zombie genre, is one of my all-time favorites. And technically this won't be a zombie novel because they're not technically zombies, kind of like how you would describe The Last of Us or 28 Days Later, not zombies. They're more zombie adjacent because they're just infected or diseased, so they're not technically zombies. And it will be the same for this case as well, but there's going to be an outbreak during the middle of the day on an opening day actually at the university, of which Morgan, Hannah, Luke, and other students in the university are having to deal with. And one of the main things I wanted to make sure for this story is that these characters are capable. They are not stupid, they don't make rash decisions unless it makes sense for the plot. But one of my biggest icks when it comes to horror is writers who make the characters do stupid things, not because it's realistic, but just to add drama or angst to a scene. I don't want none of that. If someone's going to make a mistake or do something on accident, I want it to feel natural and I want it to be believable. I want the story to feel as authentic as possible, and I also want the infected to be actually scary. I know a lot of, zombie movies and shows and stuff like to make the focus on how humanity is actually scarier than the zombies sometimes, but for this one I actually wanted it to be the zombies are terrifying. I'm so looking forward to this novel. I've been planning it for so long and I can't wait for you guys to meet Morgan, Hannah and Luke. Hey guys, editor me again. So there was actually a question asked by one of my patrons. They did ask it a little bit late, but I've had it in time where I can still edit it in via me. So the question was, having seen your behind the scenes and also looking back to the first video you have on the channel, I'm still amazed on how much work you put into these videos to make the manga panels alive. How did you decide that this was the way you wanted to edit your videos? Were you inspired by someone, or was this always something that you had in mind? So a lot of my editing comes down to a few things. Number one, I didn't really want my videos to be boring. It definitely works for other people, and I've never even thought of it as an issue when I've watched other people's videos, but for some reason, for my own self and my own channel, I don't like the idea of a panel just doing nothing, just being static on the screen for 10 seconds. It just bores me, myself, and yet I don't have that issue when I'm watching other people's work. And so because of that, I try to keep the videos as engaging as possible. People I'm inspired by, the biggest two channels would be Captain Christian and the German channel Kurzgesagt, which is more like a motion graphics educational kind of channel. If you watch both of those channels, you will probably see where that inspiration for me comes from. I like fluid videos where it doesn't feel like one stop, one stop, one stop. It just flows all the way throughout. You have these nice transitions, lovely explanations. I need to get better at my narration work because those two channels excel on that, and I feel like that's something I'm not the best at, but at least visually those two channels are where it's at for me. Yeah, I just like to keep things engaging as much as possible. What is the best way we can support your channel? Do you have a Patreon or any merch? What does your office look like if you have one? This isn't going to be just for me. I'm going to say this as a broad general answer for any of you guys who like other channels too and you really want to support them. A way you can support a channel non-financially, because I know some people literally don't have the money to help people out, and that's perfectly fine. No one's, well, I hope to think no one, unless you're Hamertn, is begging for people to fund you. But a good non-financial way to help people is liking the video. Honestly, you guys don't understand how massive of an impact liking a video can be, because it will push it to the algorithm more, because yes, a view is good and is very important and you've clicked on the video, but liking the video lets YouTube know that people are watching it and liking it enough to click a button. Another thing, subscribing. I don't think that's as big as a thing as, say, liking a video, but because numbers don't necessarily reflect like an actual community, if that makes sense. So like someone could have 1 million subscribers and yet you look at how many comments they get and they might not get many. So some people have very engaging communities and some people don't. They just have like a number, I guess, to reflect their channel. But subscribing anyway does help, because you can then add the alert notification button. That's always a great thing as well. And then the other thing would be commenting. Commenting is just as important as liking. It helps the video be boosted by the algorithm, which everyone loves. Everyone loves their video being pushed by the algorithm because no one knows how it bloody works, not even YouTube. The other ways that you can help This is going to vary depending on the channel because some people do have things, some people don't. Buying merch would be one. So I don't have any merch, but like I said, that is something I'd love to work on. But if people do have merch, you can buy it. Another way would be Patreon. I feel like that's one of the biggest and most common ways that you can help out a channel. So for myself, I have 3 tiers, but technically 2. I have the lower tier, which is there as a way to kind of just support the channel, help give a few funds here or there, of which I appreciate very much. And you can join my Discord if you become a Patreon if you wish, and you'll have each video 24 hours earlier than everyone else. And then I have the slightly higher tier where I do have tutorials on there. I do have commentaries, of which I need to catch up with that. And then you'll join Discord and you'll have other things as well. So I'm in no way pushing and forcing people to join Patreon, but that is a great way to help creators. Patreon has helped me so much. I use all of the money from Patreon on the channel. So what I'm literally talking to in right now, the microphone, to the actual microphone itself, to the camera, to the lens, to the lights that are near me, to every single plugin that I've used on the channel, which I know I've been asked about in another question in the future, so I'll talk about plugins in a second. Plugins have genuinely saved me so much time. You do not understand how grateful I am to the people who financially support me just because I can get plugins. And then I also have Ko-fi. For those who don't know, actually, I don't know if I've said it on YouTube, I do commissions for YouTube thumbnails, and that has been very successful for me. I've had a ton of fun doing that because I love making thumbnails. I love being creative with them. I love making them stand out. It just felt natural to do commissions for them. So you can either like donate on Ko-fi normally, give a Ko-fi donation like a one-off if you wish, or you can do a commission if you want. Those are the biggest ones that come to mind. Sharing a video, oh my god, please share videos. That is a great way for a video to be spread outside of the norm audience. That will help the views algorithm wise. So yeah, sharing videos is another great one too. One day I would love to do this full time and to give you guys more videos. I currently work retail at the moment, so it's very hard to do videos with the time that I have, and I hope to think that my video release schedule is okay. I do videos every 4 to 6 weeks ish, unless it's a hard video to edit, and I just love to expand this channel and to expand with you guys and to do more videos that you guys like, and like, you know, ones that you share and love and stuff. And I'd love to get my own office. That is something that I've been really aiming for, either this year or the next. There's some offices that aren't too far from me. There'd be a bit of a drive. That would be perfect for me to have. One of the issues that I have at the moment is that I live with family still. They are a very loud family, and recording during the day is pretty much impossible. So all of my recording is done at like 2 a.m, which is not ideal. It restricts how long I can do a recording for, especially if I've got to get up for work the next day. So being able to do like a long recording just during the day when, it's a normal time to record would be amazing. And I think I'd feel more comfortable doing stuff like streaming and more like behind the scenes stuff and extra video content, like a second channel of worth of stuff as well, if I had an office, because I never answered what my office looks like. So here's a photo or video of my office at the moment. It's in my bedroom. It's pretty cramped and it's not really ideal. So I've been really trying to push myself to try and increase my Patreon or my Ko-fi, so as I can get an office. And I've been saving money in general to, get stuff like a standing desk, because I have the posture of a shrimp and I'd like to fix that. Yeah, an office would be a godsend. It also enables you to have a PO box. That would be amazing. I've had a few companies that'll be like, oh yeah, we want to send you stuff, and I'm like, I don't really want to give my like personal address away. Or I've had like, I'm gonna say 5 people ask if I have floating bit, a PO box to send stuff to. And again, I don't really want to give my personal address away, but also having a PO box I think is like, it is expensive in the UK through Royal Mail to have a PO box, and depending on how many packages you'd have a year, sometimes it wouldn't like it'd be too much money for like only a few packages, you know, like it's expensive. And the offices that I've been looking at give you a PO box, which would be awesome because obviously I wouldn't have to give away my personal address which don't really want to do that, to be honest. So I don't even know how I ended up rambling about this. Whatever happened to your Promare video? I never had the chance to see it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on the movie. I worked so hard on that video just for it to get copyright claimed by Mole bitches. They are a terrorist amongst the Anitube community and they take down a lot of videos. To be fair, it was a little bit my own fault. There are certain films and certain studios that you just do not touch. So for instance, for me, I know I'm never going to do a video on Studio Ghibli. It's too great of a risk. Unfortunately, nearly 90% of the video got claimed, so it was not earning any money. No one could see it anyways. So it's a Patreon exclusive along with my Ghostface / Scream video, which, okay, I've got a bone to pick here actually, because there is so many video essays on Scream, and yet suddenly because I'm making a video that kind of tells the truths about the fact that the Ghostface mask, which is so iconic, is sold every single Halloween, was technically a stolen idea and the actual creator has never been credited in the movies, and suddenly my video got copyright claimed. Why is it that mine, out of everyone's, got copyright claimed? And it just makes me feel a bit like suspicious because of the topic that I talk about in the video. But yeah, if you want to watch that, that is on Patreon. The next question is, of course, by the bestie Colleen. My question is just, Chihayafuru video when? Pretty obvious question from Colleen, and I'm glad you asked because I really do want to cover Chihayafuru on the channel, and I want to mainly talk about the manga. I love the anime. I think the anime does a splendid job of adapting the manga, and I really like the live action adaptation as well. That's really good too. But I kind of want to wait until all of the manga volumes have been released, which I don't think is very long now. Unfortunately, they're all digital. You can't buy them physically. However, I kind of want to wait for them to all release so as I can do a video about the entire series. I'm sure Colleen of everyone will know when the last volume comes out. I don't want to promise the video would be out this year. It could be next year, but it's definitely one I want to do because it's one of my all-time favorite series. The next comment is from Ninja. If you were forced to make a different type of content, i.e. non-video essay analysis stuff, what kind of content would you make? Okay, so this is really funny because before I made this channel, I actually really wanted to make an ASMR channel. Now, hold the groaning and the cringing. I listen to ASMR every single day, and it's not like I cannot stand like eating sounds and stuff like that. Like, I'm not massively into like mukbangs, stuff like that, but there are like certain ASMR videos where it's like people who are traveling through a city and it's just more like the natural sounds of a city when someone's walking through it. And to be honest, I listen to so many ASMR artists every single day, and that is something that I really was looking to go into. However, I was a bit too nervous to do it. That is definitely more a like face-to-face kind of thing. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be, but most are. And I'm still not massively camera confident. Even doing this, I feel like I'm struggling a little bit, but the more I've been doing it, the better I have been getting. I just fumble over my words a lot, and I don't feel like that would have been the best thing for ASMR. In saying that though, I do get a lot of comments saying something along the lines of your voice would have been great for ASMR, which always makes me laugh because I'm like, yeah, well, that was a route that another me would have taken. Other than that, I actually really like react channels, and that is something that I would genuinely love to do even now. That's not something that you'd have to force me to do. I watch a lot of react channels like Zavid, Alanda Parker, who else? I can't think of people at the top of my head, so I'll jot some down on the screen. I watch a lot of reactors, whatever, and I don't know, I find it really satisfying to see people watch something that I've watched and I think is fantastic and seeing their reactions to it. So yeah, I'd probably make a react channel. I guess, and have a bit of fun with that. The next question is by the bestie Whimsy Dearest. Huge congrats on the milestone. If you could live in any manga fantasy world, which would it be? A fantasy world. I mean, Witch Hat would be pretty good because I love some of the inventions in that. I guess it would depend on if you actually are a witch or not. Because if you're not a witch, it's kind of, I mean, you have the benefits of all the products and everything and the spells that are made, but you're not actively creating them. So I don't know if that would get rid of the magic, if you will. But that seems a more chill fantasy in comparison to some others. Like, I wouldn't really want to be dropped in Berserk. Wouldn't want to be dropped in Claymore, preferably. Even Dungeon Meshi to an extent. I feel like I would be the worst dungeon explorer. I'd be like Marcel. I would die by a slime. But I guess dying in that fantasy world isn't as bad because you can be brought back. But I'd be scared of being brought back too many times. How much of me is returning, you know? So I'm going to say Witch Hat and the world there, actually. How and when did you start editing? Okay, so technically I started editing pretty much when I made the channel. When I was at university, I did graphic design and multimedia. The multimedia was pretty much like we had one module on coding. Absolutely hated it. Never want to do that again. Worst experience of my life. We did some textile work. That was actually pretty decent. I actually enjoyed that. And then we had this video editing course, if you can call it that. It actually ended up being kind of naff because we had this substitute teacher who, it felt like the uni didn't actually do proper checks on him because he wasn't actually like a legitimate teacher or anything, and he taught us nothing about video editing. Actually, tell a lie, he showed us how to make a keyframe. But it wasn't even him that showed us, it was the assistant teacher. So that was like the most time-wasting module ever. I got top marks, but like I learned literally nothing from it. So video editing wise, yeah, it was literally the channel. I'm pretty much self-taught and everything that you see is me fumbling my way through editing, pretty much. Since you have a wide and interesting array of recommendations through your videos, how do you usually find and start reading new manga? Also, I noticed that you seem to usually stick to official volume releases. Do you also read scanlations or only the official source? So to just pick up on that second question, do I read scanlations? Yes, I do. I read a lot of GL, so I kind of have to, because not a lot really get picked up, to be honest. It used to be 7 Seas that would pick up a lot of GL most of the time. They've kind of fumbled a little bit recently. They still do a few, but not as many as what they used to. But do I only read the official sources? No. The only reason that I tend to do manga on the channel that has an official source is because it just makes it easier editing wise, because the panels you can get in higher quality. There are some exceptions like Full Night. When I started the production of Full Night, it hadn't been picked up. And then in the middle of production, it was then officially announced it was getting picked up, and it's releasing in English, I think on my birthday week in August. So that's the best news ever, and I'm really glad that's getting picked up. Other than that, I'd love to do a video on Ikoku Nuki. That's one of my absolute favourites. That hasn't been picked up either, even though it's having an anime coming up soon. And After God, which it has been picked up digitally, but not physically. And I am planning to do a video on that still. So it's not the be all end all. It's just that if something gets officially picked up, the scans are just of higher quality, which makes it easier for me to do my manga animations. That's literally it. Other than that, if it's a scanlation, the type and like the, I guess, translations aren't the officials. So if I was to do a video on, so when I did the Full Night video, for example, I showed no text whatsoever. And the reason I did that was because I didn't want to show a video that was all fan translations and then, like it did in the middle of the process of making the video, it gets picked up. And then say, I don't know, a year down the line, 2 years down the line, someone watches the video and they're like, oh, those translations aren't the actual ones. What's going on there? Which I guess it could be obvious, like, yeah, it didn't get picked up at the time I made the video, but it's to try and save that confusion too, I guess. Congrats on the milestone. Can you talk about your audio setup and your journey with improving your audio? This is the biggest hurdle for my channel. So I actually think audio is probably one of the most important things when it comes to video essays, because at the end of the day, if you can't hear someone talking or it's hard to make out what they're saying, the visuals aren't gonna cut it. You know, you're better off having better visuals, better audio. You're better off having better audio and lacking in visuals than vice versa for a video essay, at least in my opinion. So I first started the channel with the Blue Yeti. I thought that sounded great. I then changed to the Elgato Wave. I think it was the first, oh no, was it the second version. I think it was the second one. And again, that was a great microphone, but that one, I had a little issue with it. There was a little like hissing in the back, which wasn't to do with like the noise level or anything. I think it was something actually wrong with the mic itself. So I've still got it as a backup, but I was like, I kind of need to get another one. I'd given away my Blue Yeti to a friend, so I was like, maybe I should just invest in an XLR microphone. You know, I looked up a lot of what is predominantly the most used microphone, and it's the SM7B. I think that's kind of like an iconic microphone, and I have it written down actually because I always forget the name of it. Bear with me. Okay, so this is my setup now, right? So I have the SM7B, which is plugged into a SE Electronics DM1 Dynamite, and that basically gives the SM7B a boost because that microphone's known to be quite low in audio, so you normally have to have something connected to it to boost up the dB levels a little bit. And then that is plugged into a Elgato Wave XLR. And that has honestly been one of my favourite products that I've bought. That has been great. It's worked amazingly. So yeah, that's my audio setup now, and I record into Audacity. I do have on Patreon like a go-through checklist, I guess, of the effects and stuff that I use on Audacity because I am not an audio person in any way, shape or form. I still think that's something I need to improve on, both audio in terms of narration and then also audio in terms of music. I feel like I've not perfected that at all, and that's something I want to improve on. There have been a few like tips and tricks and stuff I've learned off other YouTubers, especially people who do narration as a job, and there are a few things that I picked up on that, like limiter levels, using a de-esser, etc. So yeah, if you want to see my full list and the exact levels that I use and everything, I do have that on Patreon. Congratulations on such a huge milestone. I've been watching you since the Hat Atelier, since the Hat Atelier video, but too shy to comment. It's been great to see you reach this far. What made you start YouTube, and do you have any advice for someone who wants to start? So why did I start YouTube? I've been watching YouTube and consuming YouTubers' videos for yonks, absolute years, since I was like 12, 13, I'm gonna say. And I feel like the content I've watched has also adapted and grown and matured as I've got older, but I've always wanted to start my own channel. I think when I was younger, I never really knew what I wanted to start it on. I just knew I wanted to create something. And it was only until I was about 15, 16 that I started to see more video essays pop up that I started to really like that kind of content, people breaking down films, breaking down scenes. It was predominantly within like the filming industry and film as a whole that I watched video essays, and then a few years on I saw a lot of anime ones. I guess one of the reasons I wanted to start the channel was because the anime, or the AniTubers I guess, I saw there wasn't really a lot of people covering content of stuff that I enjoyed. So I guess in a way you could say it's kind of selfish. It was like I saw this little bit of a vacuum where, you know, no one was covering Witch Hat, no one covered Dungeon Meshi. Actually no, that's a lie. You had like one or two people, and then you'd have a few like review videos, but like in comparison to something like the big seinen, the big shonen stuff, like they barely had any videos in comparison. And I love the socks off of the manga that I've covered on the channel, and yeah, it just felt like there was a little bit of a void there, I guess, and I just wanted to fill it. Oh, and as for any advice, my advice is to, and this is going to sound cheesy as hell because everyone says it and I think it is genuinely good advice, and that's why it's said so much, just start now. Just do it. Even if your video is shit, even if it's the worst thing you think anyone could even come up with, everyone has to start somewhere. Literally, everyone has to start somewhere. You could start on that level, but it doesn't matter because in a year, you could be up there. You could surpass the very people that you watch and love yourself. You don't know what your YouTube journey is going to be, and you won't know what it's going to be if you don't start. So just start. Hi Danny, huge fan of your content. I just started taking manga content at the start of this year, and your videos are informative and well edited. My question is, what is your writing process for long form videos? I have a hard time trying to pick a subject and sticking to it. It's kind of funny you say long form videos because I guess kind of now my videos are not considered long form in any way, shape or form. Long form nowadays tends to be like videos that are like 2-3 hours long, if not longer. And that kind of seems to be the thing at the moment, you know, really long form videos. Whilst mine tend to be anything between like 10 minutes to 20 minutes, which a lot of people consider that short form, but it doesn't feel like short form to me when I'm making it. I'm going to be completely honest. The making is long form, the video is short form. But what was the question? What is your writing process? It depends on the video. To be honest, if I'm doing a recommendation video, that tends to be where I've gone out of my way to read new manga, and then as I'm reading it, I jot down notes, and then those notes I then put into bullet points, which then kind of turns into the script. I feel like recommendation videos are super simple and easy. It's just you writing your opinions on a manga, kind of like a summary as well, really, for a recommendation, because you don't want to give too many spoilers away. For videos like the Blue Period one or the Dungeon Meshi one, they tend to be where I've already read the manga, so something has stuck with me about that manga. Something, as I was reading it, I was thinking, Jesus, this is like such a strong element to the series. So with Dungeon Meshi, it was the character designs. Land of the Lustrous, it was the negative space. I pretty much have that topic in mind, even after I've read it. And so what I do is I reread the manga, and I will put it on the screen right now. I will go through the manga again, and I will put a manga panel / scene. I'll say what page it is, what volume it is, and then I'll give a description. And that will normally be anything from 20 pages to, I think I've gone up to 70 pages worth of annotations and notes. The hardest part is writing those notes and putting them into something that makes sense. So I do like a bullet point document, and then the bullet points I'll then put on a new document, but in groups that I think would make for like chapters, if you will. What is going on with my hair? And then from there, I then try and think of what it is I'm actually trying to say with the video. So I normally have a topic in mind, but I think giving yourself a title is just as important, because as you're writing your script, you reference back to the title, or you look back at it and think, am I even talking about the title? It's good to try and stay consistent, and that's something that I learned in English class pretty much, you know, throughout secondary and college, and I think it works quite well. As for the main script, I read it over and over again. And sometimes it gets to the point where I've read it so many times I get sick of it. So sometimes I will ask some friends to read it over. But more than anything, I think I probably lean more to emotive language, I guess. And that always comes through when I have a lot of people saying that they've cried to my scripts, which I always find hilarious. That is the funniest and most entertaining thing to me, by the way. If you're writing a comment saying, oh my god, I was sobbing at this video, I am laughing in the nicest way possible. Like, I am laughing and I am like, yes, mission accomplished. There's nothing better than making people cry. And I say that in the most respectful way I can. Well, in terms of making videos, not people crying in general. Okay, next question. What's something you'd really like to get into but don't have the time? I think I've got a few things actually. Learning Blender, that seems like such a... I've had a lot of people say it's not the worst thing to learn. It does take time though, is the only issue. And I feel like that's fine with me, because that's the exact same process I had with After Effects. Like, it's not necessarily hard to learn, it just takes time, and it can be a little frustrating sometimes. So I'd love to learn Blender, and I'd love to do my own merch. I don't know if I'm in the right position to be releasing merch right now though, and I don't know if that's something people even want. If that is something that you guys want, let me know, because obviously I have like a design background and stuff, and I'd love to make merch that isn't just like your typical like logo thrown on a shirt or something, but actually has a design on it that I would look at myself and think, I would wear that. So if that's something that you're interested in, it might be something that I might contemplate making more time for, because I'd love to make some shirts, maybe other things, I'm not quite sure. Every time I go to a convention, I see the stuff that people make and I'm just like, damn, I'd really love to make stuff like that myself. I actually have a press on iron product, I'm forgetting the word, at home. So it would have to be sending, is it DFs, I think they're called, the transfers. There's a company not far from me who actually does that. So it would just be me ironing on the design onto the shirts, which would be pretty cool because that would be me personally doing that. Other than that though, What is something I don't have time for? I guess the second channel, but that is something that I am contemplating doing, because I think it might be important for me to have a channel where I can release content that isn't like so heavily edited that I have to worry about little nitpicky things, and I can just release it into the wild. You know, a lot of people ask, you know, if I would ever consider doing like face-to-face, kind of like this, but reviews for manga and stuff like that. And I think it would be cool, because I have so many people asking like, have you read this manga? What did you think about this series, that series, blah, blah, blah. And more often than not, it's me saying, yeah, I've read it. Oh, no, I haven't read it. Or, yeah, I've read it, but I didn't like it. I probably need to make like either an Alien list or a Goodreads or something, because I get asked so frequently, and I need to be able to just say like, look at this website. I have every single manga I've read recorded there, so you can know if I've read it or not. But I think that would take me absolutely forever. And I'd also have to remember everything I've read, which I'm going to be honest, that ain't happening. Next question. What is your favourite and not so favourite part of the editing process of your videos, and which video has been your favourite to edit? My favourite to edit actually was the book cover one. Do you judge a book by its cover? Unfortunately, it didn't really do that well, which is really frustrating, I'm not gonna lie, because of how long it genuinely took to make that video. But it was the first video I had where like there wasn't already like pre-made visuals, if that makes sense. Like if I'm making a manga video, I have the manga there to edit, but for the book video I had to make my own visuals for pretty much everything except the covers themselves. So it was me making my own templates, I did like 3D stuff in that video and everything like that. Like I learned a lot doing that video, and I had so much fun with it. And it took a lot of time because I was learning new skills. It's just a shame it didn't really do well. Maybe it's because books aren't really something like that I cover on the channel and that I'm known for, I guess. Maybe if I was on BookTube, it might have done better. I'm not quite sure. Also, I'm not really on Reddit, so I can't share stuff anywhere. So by all means, if you want to share that video out to people, maybe booktubers you know, please do so, because I think that video actually deserves more views than what it got. I can't get my words out. And I don't mean that in like a cocky way more than it was. I'm just super proud of it, to be honest. So what is your favourite part and what's my not so favourite part? My least favourite part of making videos is in particular to manga is the cutting out process. That is easily the most time consuming part of animating manga and comics. Comics are actually worse because you're using colour, and it's easier to do redrawing with black and white, and okay, screen tones as well can be a bit of a pain in the ass, but if you use the stamp tool, sometimes it's completely fine. Doing that with colour, like when I did my Something is Killing the Children video, oh my god, some of those pieces took forever to redraw because there's like gradients and everything on top of, and like brush strokes and everything on top of like the colouring, which is very hard to match in a redraw. So basically what I mean by redrawing as well, some people might not even know what I'm going on about. You might, what the bloody hell are they talking about? Redrawing is basically, say you've got a character in a manga and they're waving. Now, to animate that, you might want to be like, oh, okay, yeah, they're actually waving. But because manga is a 2D form, if you move the arm, there's going to be nothing where the original placement of the arm was going to be. So you have to redraw whatever was behind it. So if anyone who is doing a manga animation, and they're probably nodding their head right now thinking, yep, I face the exact same issue, it's a pain in the ass, it takes forever, and I hate it. Every single thing that is moved in a manga animation has to be redrawn behind it, unless it has like a plain white background. That's one of the reasons why I'm actually kind of looking forward to potentially doing a Bleach video, because Bleach does have a lot of white backgrounds. And that's not me hating on the series, that's just me thinking, oh my god, that is going to be a absolute godsend to edit, because the one tool will be used so much. As for my favourite part of editing, I think it's actually when it comes to problem solving. So when it comes up to a part and I'm like, how do I transition this in the most smooth way possible? Or how do I get from there to there, and occasions where I have to actually genuinely think about something. I actually genuinely love those moments. Sometimes it can be a bit frustrating because I might try something and it just doesn't work, it's a bit naff and crap. But when I've solved it and I've actually thought of something that works, I absolutely love that. I love that so much. I did that a lot in my Keith Haring video. That video was a bit different because it felt a little bit more like a documentary. And I watch a lot of those actually either on YouTube or, you know, on Netflix, stuff like that. And that was where a lot of inspiration came from for that video. And I had so much fun with that. Like, it was genuinely a lot of fun to the point where I'd probably actually love to do more videos like that. Just like short form docus. What was the most fun video to make? I kind of just covered that. So I'm going to go to the next question. What's your favorite part of video making, editing, writing, researching, etc.? So I answered the last one. That was more so specifically about the video part, I guess. Outside of the video making, my favorite part of making a video before it, maybe the research. And actually I find doing research quite interesting. Writing, I can fumble and struggle with a little bit. I'm not the fastest writer. I actually really like writing, but sometimes a script I can either like bang it out super quick. I think the quickest videos I did was my Arcane video and the Keith Haring video. The Keith Haring one I did in 4 days. The Arcane one I did in 3. And I love my script writing for the Arcane video. Again, I don't want to sound cocky, but I just had so much fun with it. It was such a, I loved that video. I love Arcane so much. So yeah, I'd say the researching part, I always love seeing what a mangaka has to say in an interview. Or my Scream video had a lot of research into it. That was a lot of, I don't know if fun was really the right word. I guess it was. Especially because I was covering a film that was in 96, 97, I always forget which one. I think it was 96. So a lot of the video content was, I don't want to say the word old because I'd be calling myself old, but older, you know, late 90s. So the quality wasn't quite there, but that kind of added to that, you know, that crispy agedness to the video, which I quite liked. And again, I just called myself old. Massive congrats, it's a well-deserved milestone and only the beginning of better things to come. I'd personally love to know how it is that you keep yourself motivated and what inspirations allow you to push your content to the heights they've achieved. So what keeps me motivated? Honestly, you guys probably. I've had people say that they've literally showed my videos at schools. Like, teachers have told me, like, yeah, I showed this to my students. Oh my god, comments like that are so sweet, and I favorite all of them, and I've screenshot them all because, you know, when I'm making a video and maybe, I don't know, everyone has those days where you're not really in the mood to do something, and I love looking back at those screenshots of the comments that you guys have made, and it does inspire me a bit more to, you know, keep making videos, and it motivates me to create content even if, say, the last video hasn't done so well. So for instance, this year my videos haven't really done that well, to be honest. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing wrong or if it's an algorithm thing. However, I don't want to lean into that it's the algorithm's fault thing, because maybe sometimes I need to look at my videos and think maybe I am actually doing something wrong. But this time around, I'm not sure. I'm starting to think maybe I am doing something wrong, or maybe it's just one of those where I'm kind of just in one of those slumps. I'm not quite sure, but we'll get there. So the next question is, congrats on the milestone. It's always satisfying seeing such good channels getting the growth they deserve. Do you have a desire to write or draw a story? Also, I'm not sure if you already talked about it, The Girl from the Other Side. I think you would love it. I've shown The Girl from the Other Side on my channel a few times. I know I definitely did the Land of the Lustrous video because of its similar appliance of negative space. I really want to get those really nice versions of the manga. I can't remember who publishes it now, but there's like a really nice version of it all put together. I really want to get that. As for the story itself, I love The Girl from the Other Side. I think it's such a great manga. Love the art style. Nagabe is one of those artists whose work and style, I should say, I recognise instantly. Such a good style, I love it so much. As for if I'm ever going to cover it on the channel, I hope to think so, because I do really like the manga. I'm just not quite sure what topic I'd have for it, which is the issue, I guess. That's always something I try to think of first, so if I think of one, I'll make a video on it. As for the first question, Do you have a desire to write or draw a story? Yes, I do. Not to draw a story. Well, actually, no, I did actually. I'll put some screenshots on the screen. A few years back, I was going to create a children's book, and I had some illustrations done. And it was basically a book that was trying to promote British Sign Language, BSL, to children. I think it's kind of important for not necessarily just children, but for everybody to know at least the most basic signs for something like, are you okay? Do you need help? Stuff like that, which I think would help a lot. Especially in situations where someone might be panicked, they might be worried about something, or something serious might have happened. I think even knowing the most basic of sign would be really important. And I think a good way of doing that is through starting it young. And that's why I had this idea of this story which kind of tries to get kids to reenact the hand movements that I would have drawn in the book, and learning some sign itself and being like something to just learn from, I guess. But I worked on that pretty much like a month before I started on the channel, and then all I thought about after that was the channel, and I kind of ditched the idea. It is something that I would love to get back into, but again, it's finding the time for that, I guess. What pieces of media served as your gateway drug into animation? What aspects of media analysis do you feel are the most valuable, and how can people practice them more? For a more light-hearted question, what are the funniest shows and movies you know? Okay, so what pieces of media served as your gateway drug into animation? I've kind of been watching animation since I was young, which I guess a lot of people could say, but I was massively into Scooby-Doo and Tom and Jerry when I was young. And even when I went into like teenagehood, I watched Pokemon, and then I don't know, I've just kind of always watched animation. So I guess I didn't necessarily have a gateway more than I did. I was just introduced to it young, and I never stopped. For the last question, comedy is a hard one for me because it's either I like it or I just really don't. I guess some comedy I enjoy. I like The Office US. That made me laugh out loud several times. Abbott Elementary. I think that's a super funny show. I guess this is a massive contrast, but Veep, oh my god, that show had my ribs hurting on so many episodes and so many scenarios. Selena and Michael in The Office are the worst people. They're absolute vermin, but they're so funny. They are so funny. They're so funny to watch. So I'm going to say those three. Your videos are so pleasant to listen to and beautifully edited. Also, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Witch Hat Atelier anime? Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to? What are my thoughts on the Witch Hat anime? I don't really have many thoughts because nothing's been released. To be fair, I don't mind waiting. If they're cooking, it's not that I don't care, more than it is, I just want to give them time to cook. You know, if they have to cook for several years, that meal is going to be delightful. So I don't really mind. My thoughts about it, I'm just excited, I guess. I mean, I am a bit, anxious about certain things, like how it's going to transform that usage of paneling into anime, which is just not going to be able to. So I'm wondering how they're going to do something different to uplift it in a different way. Kind of like how, KyoAni just raise the bar for every single anime they do. They would be the ideal company. And I don't just say that because, everyone wants KyoAni to work on an anime, on their, manga, if you will. Everyone would say that. However, I'm saying it because I think they would be the perfect company to work on it. And studio, I should say. Because I think Coco would be a great MC for them. I feel the concept of magic, they've already covered a little bit of magic on some of the anime that they've done. But I feel like the messages in Witch Hat would fit them to a T. That concept of how drawing is essentially magic. Tell me that does not fit KyoAni. Tell me it doesn't. And also, let's be honest, if anyone is going to do key free right, let's be real here. But I am really excited to know what the opening is going to be like, what the voice acting, who's doing it, what style the animation team decide to go with. I think I'm more excited than I am anxious. So I don't really have anything else to say about it until we actually hear some news. What's a favourite scene of an adult reassuring a child? Anything and everything from Medalist. Oh my god, I love the duo in that manga so much. to the point where I want to do a whole video just dedicated to them, and I just need to get around to that video. Medalist is such a good manga, guys. It's generally one of my favorite. Is it my favorite one though? I think Medalist and Haikyuu and Chihayafuru though comes under sports. Those are the 3 sports manga for me, and ironically I need to cover all of them, which I've already stated in this video already. But Medalist is up there. It's having an anime soon as well, so I need to get this video out pretty quickly, to be honest. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I should probably do it before the anime releases, huh? What is your favourite manga from each demographic? Oh, this is a difficult one. I don't think I can do just one favourite more than favourites. So in shonen, I love Yotsuba. If you follow me on Twitter, I talk about Yotsuba a little bit. Just post a few panels here and there. I love Haikyuu. What else do I like in shonen? Bloom Into You? I'm going to say those. Seinen, I feel like I've covered most of my favourite seinen on the channels. That will be like Witch Hat, Dungeon Meshi, love Medalist, love Skip and Loafer, Full Night. I really like After God. Been really enjoying that. So then shoujo, I'm going to say A Sign of Affection, Kimi ni Tadake, Nana. I hope to God it's not pronounced Nana. Could you imagine? Oh yeah, my favourite manga, Nana. Yeah, so those 3. And then Jose, I'm going to say She Loves to Cook, She Loves to Eat. I really enjoy that series. Chihayafuru. Ooh, I can't remember on my shelf what is actually Jose, because I feel like I actually read more Jose than I do shoujo. This question's by Sam, my bestie. My oomph. What are your favourite anime manga ships? Canon or non-canon? Both are good. All are good. XOXO, your biggest fan. Favourite animation ships would be Bubbling, Kate Vi. I can't lie, I was big into Widow Tracer when I was in my Overwatch phase. Don't look at me. When I was a teenager, I was big into Once Upon a Time, unfortunately, and I really liked Swan Queen, unfortunately. That is a dark past we do not talk about. What was the other media that you said? Favourite anime ships? I guess I can say it's an anime one, but I love Farsil in Dungeon Meshi. I'm having a brain fart right now. What do I actually like? Manga ships, again, oh my god, what do I even read? What do I read? Witch Hat, I like. This is more in like its innocent kind of way, but I like Gon and Alaka. Oh my sweet Jesus. Gon and Killua. Oh my god. I think they're so sweet. Those are my boys. And then kind of in the same fashion as well, Agatha, Agot, whatever you want to call her, and Coco in Witch Hat. Those are my daughters, especially Agatha, my daughter. I think there are so many signs in it that it's like, I'm not going to give myself any expectations, but it's cute. It's cute. In Land of Luscious, I really liked Shinsha and Foss. Hey, it's editing me again. So there were a few ships that I realised I missed out on when I was doing my editing, and I feel like they are too important to not mention. So I missed out ships like Lumity, like Harley and Ivy, Diana and Akka, Yormako, Galileo, and I also got into Wolfren this past year as well. Yeah, so there you go, Sam. The next one is, if you had a YouTube arch nemesis, would their channel be colours at rest? What's the opposite of a line? A squiggle? And motion, I guess rest works. I think it would be more so squiggle at rest. Would it? I don't know. But my actual arch nemesis is Beyond Ghibli. Don't subscribe to that man. Don't even watch his content. He's so mean to me. Absolute horrible person. I'm joking, of course. But they asked also what kind of videos would my arch nemesis make? Maybe the exact same videos I do, but without the animation. Like they just word for word copy my script, but just don't animate. They just have like a manga panel that just slowly zooms in. I think that would be my arch nemesis. Love your videos. What made you want to start making them? I've kind of covered this a little bit, but I guess I can talk about another angle why I made it. When I made the channel, I knew that a big part of it was going to be anime and manga. And as I was kind of like, scoping out what the kind of creators there were already out there at the time. There are a lot of creators I really enjoyed, like Under the Scope, Super Eye Patch Wolf, though he doesn't really cover anime and manga as much anymore. A lot of other creators, but there was also... And even now, I guess it's not something that's really changed. There are a lot of creators who... It's like you'll be watching the video and then just randomly out of nowhere, there'll be just like an ableist comment or a racist comment or homophobic comment. And I wish I could say that it's not a common thing, but unfortunately it is. And very thankfully, I have a lot of people who I'm grateful to call friends, who are also creators and AniTubers as well. And even just within like the last few years, there have been so many new channels that I've found out about who are anything but what I've just described. And I feel like I follow some really lovely people. However, at the time I made my channel, I was like, I just want to make a channel that I feel like there's kind of been this void, I guess, that has been filled by people, not just me, by other people as well, where I feel like a lot of women and people who just aren't men in general were not massively interested in AniTube because of the reasons that I said, because I'm going to say like 90 to 95% of AniTube is from male content creators, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with male content creators, but I think they make up such a dominant number and percentage of creators that when you account for the things that I said, like certain jokes that aren't really jokes, a lot of women and people in general just don't really watch AniTube. Like, obviously some do. I'm not going to sit here and say no women watch AniTube, because they do. But I feel like there's a very legitimate reason as for why you find more women are definitely in the comments sections of, say, video essays for the gaming community and for the film and TV communities, and yet when you go to AniTube communities, I feel like it's a little bit, it's just way more male dominated, and a lot of that is going to be down to the fact that shonen and seinen are the most covered demographics on YouTube. And there still are. It is what it is, I guess. But I guess I wanted to create a channel that I thought anyone and everyone could watch, and they would know full well that there wouldn't be any kind of like weird comments that would make you want to turn off, and that it was kind of just like a safe space, I guess. I hope that's what comes across in the channel. But like I said, that's not just me. I feel like there have been so many new creators who have been like that as well in the last few years, who I'm grateful to call friends. So that was one of the reasons why I created this channel. Yes. I don't know how to finish that segment off, sorry. 5 manga you wish to see adapted. You know what? I've been very fortunate in the manga I've talked about on the channel, because a lot of them have been picked up or have been announced that they're getting picked up. So what's left that I haven't mentioned? Or sorry, what's left that I have talked about on the channel? Full Night would make a great anime. Afterguard. Claymore would make a great reboot. The guy she was interested in wasn't a guy at all. That would be great. Shauna Note or Our Dreams at Dusk. Either one of them. Or both. I'm not going to say no to either. Is there a manga series you really want to read in the near future? Love your videos and editing. Yes, I really want to get round to reading Monster by Urasawa. I've read so many of his manga, but for whatever reason, Monster I just haven't gotten to yet. And I have so many friends saying that it's one of his best work, so that's next on the agenda. Maybe One Piece. I feel like to make manga content and having never watched or read even a simple panel of One Piece is kind of mad. So maybe I'm thinking about starting One Piece, but I think I'll do it in chunks at a time and not all at once. I think that would be madness. What has been the piece that you have put the most hours and effort into creating? Congrats for the 100k. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Every single video on average takes over, even shorter videos, like 10 minutes. Like, I know in terms of how long the actual video it is, it might not seem like it takes long to edit, but it does. Some, like even a 10-minute video, if I'm not doing my retail work, I'm working on my YouTube video, and I'm not exaggerating when I say I pour hours into videos. So, you know, a video that's like 10 minutes, I might have put like 150 to 200 hours into it because of how long it genuinely takes to cut things out, to animate, to color grade, etc. But I think the one that took me the most time I think Our Dreams at Dusk took me a while, and the book video took me a while as well. The book, don't judge a book by its cover, I should say. That one, I don't even want to know how many hours I spent on that. But I think the Our Dreams at Dusk video, from what I can remember, I had over 400 Photoshop files that I edited for it. Because it's like a 30-ish minute video, I think. It's the longest, at least manga video on the channel. That, oh my god. I remember making that video, and by the end of it I was exhausted, which is why I took like a week break after that. I loved it, and I love Our Dreams at Dusk, but by the end of it, like, I'd cut out so many manga panels. I was seeing manga in my sleep. So I'd say that one. Oh, Sam also had another question. Also, what are your favourite Disney films? Let's say top 5. If you're conflicted about your number 1, here's a subtle hint. For Disney films, if this includes Pixar, no, we'll keep it Disney, because I feel like it mixes it up if I add Pixar as well. Favourite Disney films? I'm going to say the one that came to my head straight away, Lion King. I really like Hercules. I think Hercules has some of my favourite music. Mulan. I'm trying to think of every single Disney princess now. My mind is forgetting. Sleeping Beauty, actually, I think I would be up there, because as a kid, I'm going to sound like such a weirdo. As a kid, I loved Maleficent. I didn't care about the princess. I literally did not care for Sleeping Beauty. I liked Maleficent. What the hell was wrong with me? Or maybe that just goes to show what my future would be like. A 5th one, maybe 101 Dalmatians. I remember loving that as a kid. First, I want to say congratulations. Get something nice to treat yourself for this milestone. I did. I had that big, massive meal at Uzumaki, and I am so full. Literally, me and my sister were rolling out that restaurant. So we definitely had our money's worth. I can't believe how full I am even now. So that was my treat for today. That wasn't a question. I just felt like talking about my food habits. The actual question was, what's your favourite thing to eat? Any kind of comfort food? And who's your favourite Witch Hat Atelier girl? 2 great questions. Favourite food? I'm an ice cream person. You can give me any flavour of ice cream. Yeah, any flavour of ice cream. Even a licorice one, I will eat it. And who's my favourite Witch Hat girl? The one whose name, just no one can agree what it is. Agathi, a goat. That's what she is, a goat. That's my favourite girl. Next one is, you radiate a genuine love for authentic media. It's always a pleasure to hear your opinions on just about anything. With that said, I do wonder if you have any video games in mind that you want to talk about eventually. Oh, that's a really good question. I have covered one, and it was the Lost Legacy one. However, it got copyright. It didn't get claimed, the music did. The music still plays and everything in it, but it was kind of like a dead fish out of water situation as soon as I published the video. But that was right at the beginning of the channel, when stuff like copyright claims and stuff just still flew over my head, and I didn't have a great understanding on that. Do I want to cover any more games on the channel though? I'd love to, but I don't know if people would want to watch it is the issue. Because sometimes I've taken a risk and done a video that isn't necessarily strictly anime-manga. So like my Keith Haring one did super well. I think that's the 5th most watched on the channel. And my Owl House one as well, Western Animation, another one, which is either a big yes or a big no, because my Gravity Falls one underperformed majorly. So it's kind of a risk doing videos that aren't anime-manga. In saying that, if I did do games, I'd love to do the Resident Evil series as a whole. Little Nightmares, oh my god, I love Little Nightmares. Yeah, there's an S on the end. I'd love to do a video on that series. The Wolf Among Us, Telltale's The Walking Dead, Spiritfarer, and Little Big Planet. Oh my god, that would be an awesome video. Yeah, I think those are ones that I'd love to cover on the channel. I'm literally getting out of breath answering these guys. I'm so unfit. I even go to the gym. This is a lot. Congrats on hitting the 100k milestone. I love your videos so much, and I'd like to ask, if you had the chance to talk to or interview any mangaka/writer, who would it be? Writer, I'm going to say N.K. Jemisin. She's an author, an amazing author. Absolutely love every single book I've read from her. I would love to just ask her questions like how she even goes about writing. I love her prose. I love just I just love the way she writes. I could sit there and have a full-on conversation with her, I think. Mangaka, ooh. The first person that came to mind was Satoru Noda, simply because I'm laughing already. He, like, if you've read an interview of his, you will know that that man is so funny. And I feel like maybe I wouldn't even learn anything from him, but just a conversation with that man would be hilarious. I'd love to talk to him about Dungeon Meshi. Not even his own work, just Dungeon Meshi. Unforgivable Dungeon Meshi, as he said. That would be such a class interview. Thank you for doing what you do. I love your takes and the way you convey them. You're a huge inspiration. I love analysing media down to its tiniest, most insignificant details, and I love writing and storytelling. I've only been making AMVs up to now, but I really want to try transitioning into video essays. Any tips you can give to an aspiring video essayist? So the first thing that came to mind, actually, reading that, is that if you're doing AMVs, you've already dipped your toes into video essays, because you've worked on the visual side of things. If you've worked on AMVs, you'll know the importance of, playing certain music on beat, maybe how to transition stuff one to the next. I feel like the visual aspect you are probably in a great advantage of, to be honest. I'd say the biggest difference when doing video essays is that suddenly you've now got to write. Suddenly you've now got to record said writing and do a narration. And I think that's something that people don't actually think about, like how hard that actually is. I hate doing the recording process of videos. That's something I didn't mention actually in that previous question. I hate recording so much. For a 10-minute video, it will genuinely take me 2 hours to do the voiceover, because I'm shockingly bad. Like, I'm terrible. I can't do it quickly. Heaven forbid I ever did a 2-hour video. Could you imagine? I'd literally be there for 12 hours. Jesus Christ. But back to the question, sorry. What I'm going to say is the intent of your videos is going to be different. So in English class when I was growing up, I was told that there are 3 reasons of intent for literature. There's to persuade, to entertain, and to inform. An AMV and doing videos like that, or okay, I'm going to use my friend Ninja as an example against my own content, because we're both in the Animanga community. However, I do video essays and he does AMVs and absolutely bombastic, insanely edited music videos, essentially. To be honest, that he's insane. He's so talented. So I'm going to use us two as an example of video essay versus AMVist. I don't know if there's a word or not. His videos are going to be predominantly to entertain, and that's perfectly fine. That's what his videos are there for, to entertain, and they are very entertaining. That's why they have so many views. That's why I forget the character's name now, the guy who does the dance in Jujutsu Kaisen, how he essentially created a meme because it's an entertaining dance that he animated. Whilst mine are more so to inform and I guess persuade as well if I'm doing a recommendation video. And those are 2 very different elements of why you're creating content. Because I could not put any of Ninja's fast-paced editing into my own videos, because could you imagine that fast, impactful kind of editing as I'm trying to talk to you in such a slow manner about a serious topic? It just doesn't work. You'd be too distracted by the visuals to take in what I'm even saying. And vice versa, could you imagine my voice on one of Ninja's videos? It'd be the exact same issue, it just would not work. So my advice would be to slow down. You do not need to do the fast-paced editing, because people are going to be taking in what you're saying more than the visuals, I guess, which is why you have certain manga tubers who maybe don't focus on the visuals so much. And I guess in some ways you don't really need to. If you're not a massive video editor, that's fine, because people are there to hear what you're saying about a manga. I'm just stupid and I animate everything, but that's because I love video editing just as much as I do scripting. I love both. But I'm gonna say 60-40. I prefer video editing over scripting, but I still do love writing. So yeah, slow down your content. Hi, congrats for hitting this milestone. I follow your work since your video on Rialta and fell in love instantly with your videos. I had a question. What was your first manga and how did you stumble into the world of manga and anime? I am looking forward to your next video. My stumble into anime manga was like properly, I should say, would be Attack on Titan, because in college, it was in my second year, I think, just literally out of nowhere, there was so many students walking around with, I forget the crest names, but the crest on people's backpacks. I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, is there a brand that's come out that I didn't know about? No, it was Attack on Titan. Like, everyone had suddenly started watching it, and I tried it out and was shocked by what I watched. I didn't realize anime could be like that, at least at the time. And then straight after that, I watched Haikyuu and just fell in love. And then I think I did Haikyuu, then Sound Euphonium, and that kind of solidified my journey into anime watching, I guess. For manga, it was actually kind of similar. My friend in college, he had that crest backpack, whatever, with Attack on Titan, but he also brought the manga into college. And at the time, so my history is that I've been massive into comics before I got into manga. And I guess it's almost like a natural progression to go from comics to manga, because manga is just Japanese comics. It makes sense. And I was massive into DC at the time. And my friend brought in this manga and I was like, what the hell is that? Why are you reading it backwards? And he just showed me a few panels and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, is there more to read? And he said, yeah. And he gave me this website. I can't remember for the life of me what it was. And my first manga I think I read was Bloom Into You. Absolutely loved it. The rest is history. Love all the passion you put into your projects and you're a huge inspiration to me. Wondering if you have any ideas on how you balance creative and non-creative endeavours. To be honest, this is going to make me sound so boring. I don't actually have many non-creative endeavours. The only one I have really is going to the gym, and that's kind of because I have to. My blood pressure is pretty high, so I have to go to the gym because of that. I probably would go in general anyways, but I kind of have to. But if I go to the gym, I normally do weights. Not that you can really tell anymore. I haven't done weights in a while. The muscle's gone. It's flaking. Non-creative endeavours are pretty much just you touching grass, and unfortunately I don't really do much of that. Balancing it out, I'm probably not the best person to ask, but I guess if you're trying to say like work-life balance, I guess that could fall under this. I'm probably not the best person to ask either because I don't have a life. I knew I was going to get this question. What software do you use in general creating animations out of panels and video editing? I probably get this question like 3 times a week. I should probably put it in my video description, to be honest, like what I use, what specs my PC is and stuff like that. So to cut up imagery, I use Photoshop. To animate and do video editing, I use After Effects only. I don't use Premiere Pro. I know people are listening to that thinking that's madness, but I've never had the time to learn it. That would be a good one for the other question that I had ages ago. What would I do if I had more time? Learn Premiere Pro. Premiere? Listen, I still don't even know how to pronounce it. Maybe I need to spend the time to learn which one it is. What's your favourite band and why? Love your videos, by the way. Favourite band, I'm going to say I love Studio Killers, Jungle, KDA, Mamamoo, BTS. Though I haven't listened to either of those in quite some time, to be fair. And maybe Stray Kids a little bit. I feel like I'm missing someone. Oh, I've been listening to Bump of Chicken and Psychic Fever as well. I don't really have reasons why, I just like them. I don't analyse music and stuff. I mostly listen to music when I'm at the gym, to be honest. So I'm not very analytical in that aspect. Apologies. How did you come up with the idea for the channel's name? I love the name, by the way. Oh, I love this question. When I was at work, I probably had like a notepad of 6 different names. I didn't have much work going on, so I was just writing down some notes. I knew I wanted to make a channel on manga, and I also wanted to talk about animation on the channel, and something that they both have in common is, or well, what they kind of have in common, I should say. So animation is essentially a sequence of still images made up of lines. So, if you do like a flip, animation, you'll see it's literally just loads of images that when put together in a sequence makes motion. So lines in motion. But then also with manga, like yes, manga is a static medium, but because I animate it, it suddenly becomes lines in motion. When I figured that out, or when I came up with the name, I was literally like, I am a genius. I'm a genius. And I'm really glad that I picked it, to be fair, because I think it is it a memorable one? I don't know. Do people remember my channel name? I've never sat to think about that. Do you ever get the spooks? How do you deal with it asking for a friend? Do you mean, do I get scared? Because yes, I do constantly. For those who don't know, my favourite genre is actually horror. You probably wouldn't think that actually when looking at my channel, because I haven't really covered horror on. That is a lie. I've literally just lied to you to your face. I have covered horror on the channel twice. I did the video on Scream / the Ghostface mask. And then I guess I talked about the body horror tiny bits in the Owl House video. I love horror. Absolutely love it. Absolutely terrified of it at the same time. I am shockingly bad when it comes to getting scared by horror. Even though I know it's coming, like the music might rise up, or you know, you get those typical kind of shots where you know a jump scare's coming, they will scare the crap out of me. Every single time I will get spooked. What was the question? How do I deal with it? I don't. I'm one of those people that I'm one of those people. When's the Claymore video coming? This is a good question. I don't know if people are going to like the answer or not. So I announced I was going to do the Claymore video a few months back, maybe now. I have done... My light's just gone off. Let me swap that out. Hang on. Okay. I think I've sorted it. I might be a bit brighter now, but I've got the more powerful light in front of me, so hopefully that one lasts. When's the Claymore video coming? So yeah, I've got all the analysis stuff done for the video. The analysis is over 160 pages of annotation notes. Claymore is the longest video, or the longest manga, I should say, that I've gone into attempt to cover, because Dungeon Meshi and Land of Lustrous are both, 14 volumes, I'm gonna say, whereas Claymore is like more than double, and I think I've just got a little bit overwhelmed by that number, because I feel like that makes the video, like the video is just gonna be a lot longer, which I think has kind of scared me a little bit, because if it takes me 3 solid weeks to work on like a 10-minute video, God knows how long it would take me to do the Claymore video, and it kind of just scares me to think about like how long I'd have to go without making a video for that, which would hurt the channel. I wouldn't be shocked if Patreons would leave, and I guess it kind of just scares me a little bit about how long it'd take me to do the video. I do want to do it, it's just been put on the back burner a little bit. Yeah, sorry, that's probably not the answer some people are looking for, but I'd rather tell you and let you know and be honest, I guess. What's your favourite manga? Delicious in Dungeon, followed by Witch Hat Atelier very closely. And when I say close, I mean like skin to skin close, like Witch Hat is right behind Dungeon Meshi. I don't know why I described it like that. Ever thought of covering other forms of media outside of manga and anime? I have already. I've covered a game, I've covered Western comics, Western animation, so I have done things other than anime manga, but ever considered J-dramas or other queer media? J-drama? I don't really watch any, to be honest. I probably watch more K-dramas than J-dramas. The only live action J-dramas I've watched have been Chihayafuru and Alice in Borderland. I love Alice in Borderland. I love that series so much. What program do you use for animating panels? I answered that. That's After Effects. A more chill question. What are your recommendations on music? What kind of music do you listen to? I said the bands that I listen to, but I guess I also listen to, if it's not obvious by the shirt, Florence and the Machine, Adele, Megan Thee Stallion, J.I.D, Tom Odell, Hosier. Oh, and then a lot of League of Legends. Never played the game, but I listen to a lot of their music. That is one thing that they never fail at. Their music's always so good. And the Arcane soundtrack, oh my god, I've listened to the Arcane soundtrack so many times, still listen to it now. That's another reason why I'm so looking forward to season 2. More music, guys. Okay, so this is the plugin question. Hey Danny, what a great idea about the Q&A. Love those videos. I have a couple of questions. What skill would you like to learn, develop more in the future? I think I've touched on that a little bit. So Blender, Premiere Pro, skills. I think maybe learning how to make the music more effective in my videos. I feel like I just flop at it. I don't know what you'd call that skill wise. I guess it's like a tool skill in video editing, isn't it really? So I'd say that as well. Do you use any After Effects plugins like Motion, Flow, or something like that? Yes, I do. Now, most of these are bought plugins, but like I said earlier, all of these were funded by Patreon or Ko-fi, so thank you very much. So I use Repeater, Toon Flare, Autofill, VC Reflect, Crate God Rays, Crate's Light Wrap, Displacer Pro, Autocrop. I love Autocrop so much. If you're doing manga stuff, please use, or get, I should say, Autocrop. It's so helpful. YY Ramp Plus, Deep Glow, which is one of my favorites, Bokeh, Typewriter Plus, another massive favorite, but this one's pretty expensive, but I used the student deal. The Red Giant Bullet Suite Lux, Anubis, which has been a lifesaver. That's for exporting. Media Encoder has been pretty shit for me. I don't know what it is about it. Basically, when I make a manga video, I have to split it into sections when exporting because my PC would just not survive exporting over like 500 layers of motion. So I have to split it, like I export 2 minutes, make that appear MP4, the next 2 minutes, and then export those MP4s. That's just the best way I've found to do it. Like I said, Media Encoder has been flopping with me recently, but Anubis has been a lifesaver. Loopy, another one I love. Boil it / handcrafted look, which makes that like wobbly effect that you see sometimes in the video. Shade it, wiggle it, and then Mr. Horse, which unfortunately now has changed to like a subscription model. I bought packs before it changed into subscription, so I still have them and hopefully I get to keep them. I'm assuming so because I bought them. So if you're looking to use them now, yeah, it's a subscription service, unfortunately. Ones that I really want to get that I think would be helpful to me is Bendio. I think that would be great for the hair flapping motions because I use the puppet tool sometimes and I also use CC Bend, but Bendio looks like it gives you more control over stuff like that, so that would be great. Shadow Studio 3 is a definite need. That gives more natural looking shadows, believe it or not, to layers because the drop shadow in After Effects is abysmal. It's shocking. So I need Shadow Studio 3. Neat Videos' noise reduction plugin, Easy Orbit, VHS it, optical flares. I need that one, but it's relatively expensive. Tell me why it costs close to 100, wait, is it 100 or maybe above that, pounds just to add some flares into my video. It looks nice lighting wise, but also that is such an expensive plugin for such a small thing. So that's like a back burner, like I don't necessarily need it kind of thing. Ooh, okay. What are some of your favorite pieces of art that you don't have the chance to talk about often? Bonus points if it is in a medium that you don't typically talk about, so books, films, theatre, opera, painting. I don't really watch opera nor theatre, unfortunately. I'm not massive on those. I say I'm not massive, it's more like I just haven't ever watched them really. I'm not massive on them, but books and films, I think I showed a lot of my favorite books on my book cover video, but some at the top of my head then. Priory of the Orange Tree, I really enjoyed Wool. Meddling Kids was a good book. I'm currently reading a book at the moment called Hearing Red. The Girl with All the Gifts, Gideon the Ninth. That's all I can think of at the top of my head. If there's any more, I'll pop them on the screen here. I read a lot of books. I really do need to make a Goodreads so I can put both books and manga on there. I need to find the time for that, guys. But for film and I guess TV, I grew up watching Doctor Who. My favourite Doctor is the 11th Doctor, but I love 10 as well. The Walking Dead I grew up on, literally. I started that my first year of secondary school. I mentioned Kingdom, which is the South Korean zombie show. That's really good. Like Alice in Borderland. I like Dark, the German show. That was amazing. And oh my god, I'm so looking forward to the Dark creators because they're doing the Something is Killing the Children TV adaptation. I'm so excited for that, as well as the animation for the Witches comic. I like The Bear. I like Abbott Elementary. But one of my favourite shows that I don't think many people know I like it so much is The Mandalorian. I fell in love with that series. I think it was the beginning of last year. So quickly. Oh my god. I just love it so much. It made me cry several times, which I was not expecting. Pedro Pascal, what a man. Grogu, what a boy. I love both of them so much. I love Bo-Katan and I love the Armorer as well. Star Wars is something I've been big into, but I feel like Mando just pushed that excitement I have for Star Wars, because I wasn't massive on the newer trilogy, I'll be honest. I'm not a hater in any way, shape or form, and there's a lot of things I really like about it. My only gripe with it is that I just wish John Boyega was given more. I love John Boyega, he's one of my favourite actors, and Finn should have just been given more as a character. His premise was so interesting as well. But anyways, yeah, that's getting very, very negative on it. Mando, love Mando. I've made a video on Everything Everywhere All at Once, so a lot of people probably know I like that. A lot of horror, like I said. So my favourite horror, I mean, I love Shaun of the Dead, which is technically horror, but there's a lot of Japanese horror I've watched that I really enjoyed. I love South Korean horror as well. Train to Busan, The Wailing, so yeah. But who is your favourite Dungeon Meshi character? Marcel. Like, I completely understand why anyone and everyone could have any of them as their favourite, because they're just all fantastic. Okay, so I think this is the last question, or questions. Out of the manga you have read, have you found any particular series to be relatable, as in having circumstances that resonate with you in a meaningful way? I guess I've kind of talked about that a little bit in like the Blue Period and Look Back videos, because they talk about the struggles of being an artist and like the issues and maybe themes surrounding it. I'm going to say Medalist, actually. This is kind of what I want to cover in the video that I want to do for Medalist, but I love this kind of theme of it's never too late to go back and do something you've always wanted to do. Like, you can never get too old to pursue something. I love themes like that so much. And I really love Inori as a character, but there's something about Tsukau's journey in the manga that's just as interesting to me. Because he's like an adult. I can't remember how old he is now, but you know, he's older than what your normal MC is, I guess, that you see typically in like the manga that's pushed on YouTube mostly. And he actually feels like an adult as well. There's just something about his character and his interactions with Inori which are just so bittersweet and kind. But I love seeing his journey in feeling like revamped, feeling like re-energized in seeing the passion of someone younger than him doing something that he wanted to do, but also him finding another kind of enthusiasm in something else from it. Like, I love it so much. The second question was, and what are your thoughts on the autobiographical manga Like My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness? Oh my god, that manga. So I've read Nagata's other works, and something that always strikes me is just so I don't know if impressive is really the word, but it just strikes out to me just how raw and personal her stories are, that I think so many people would much more prefer to keep at a personal level that they wouldn't want to share. Yet she's able to make these issues, like her alcohol issues, the being a lesbian issues, or the issues that come with it, and a few other things. And she's able to do it in a way that feels so real, I guess. Like, even people who aren't in those situations can read those manga and you really get a good feel as to what she's gone through. Because, like I said, she doesn't really pull any punches. I've finished every single one of her manga thinking, like, Jesus Christ, this woman needs a break. She needs gifts. She needs a hug. She's such a talented mangaka, and I love the like singular color that she'll add to all of them. I love that. That's something that the guy I wasn't interested in, I'm not saying the entire title, it's long, also does with the green. I love that. There's something about that I love. Yeah, I need to get the like special edition, is it a hardback, I think, of that, because I actually don't own the physicals for that. And then your third question was, and since the pandemic, do you think the anime manga community has changed drastically for the better or worse? I think it's got larger. I think because of the pandemic, you know, people were at home, people weren't going to work, or if they were, it was work from home. People had more time to do stuff that they didn't before, and I think a lot of people, because of that, checked out anime or checked out manga. Actually, I think it's a combination of both. You've got people who never watched anime who got into it, and then people who were anime fans actually finally delved into manga. So yeah, a lot more people got into anime, which is always a good thing. You know, people getting into something and enjoying it more. Who doesn't love that? I think one of the worst things to come from the pandemic, and it's not strict to anime manga, is impatience, I think. A lot of anime and also animation in the West carried certain industries. Like anime really helped Japan in the pandemic, and Western animation really helped streaming during the pandemic because animators were still working. Maybe it's because in the pandemic people were like binging series and stuff like that because they had the time to, but I feel like people are getting too comfortable with not even asking creators, like demanding creators, like, when's the next season? When's the next volume? Even if you look at leaks, I guess, especially for Shonen Jump series, especially after the pandemic and during it, a lot more people were posting leaks, which makes no sense to me. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. The series officially comes out, is it a Sunday, I think, for most Shonen Jump, I think. Why are you spreading leaks like 4 days before? Like, can you not wait? I don't understand. People are always demanding of creators, and especially over the last few years, we've lost so many great mangaka. We've lost animators and creatives in general. And a lot of the time, a lot of that is because they've been overworked. The stakes that they've had doing stuff either weekly or even monthly, like even that's insane. Mangaka will pass away and, you know, you'll have tweets that kind of reflect on their passing. And, you know, they'll say, like, we've got to stop being so demandful of mangaka. We've got to treat them better. You can't be so, like, when's the next chapter, blah, blah, blah. Which is fine. You know, posts like that make sense. And it's true. People need to stop being like that. But then the exact same people, maybe, like, months after, will be complaining about a mangaka and, like, the quality dipping in terms of, like, their illustrations and stuff. Like, Akatami, one of his chapters, or maybe a few, it was after his break, I think, or just before. A lot of the pages were kind of, like, more in the draft style. And Gokuraka Guy actually had this as well. It was still in the draft section. And you have people making tweets that end up blowing up and getting loads of likes, being like, oh my god, this is your GOAT. Oh my god, how is this your favourite series? My mangaka would never. And these are the exact same people who wrote those posts about a mangaka's passing only like a few months ago. Like, people just don't learn from it, and it really frustrates me. Like, at the end of the day, a creator owes you nothing. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Like, it's like people who complain about Hunter x Hunter, the slow pace of its release and stuff. And I'm just like, you are genuinely lucky that man is even still doing the series. Because if I was in his situation, in the pain that he's in, I don't mean to be funny, but stuff you guys, I would not be doing that. Or maybe I would. Maybe it's that creator element of wanting to finish what you started, or, you know, wanting to see your creation to the end. I don't know. But, like, he doesn't owe us anything. He doesn't have to do that. And I'd much rather them stop making the manga if it means that their physical health gets better. Or I'd much rather them change to, like, a monthly series or 2 weekly, bi-weekly, like Fujimoto did. I'd much rather that than it be weekly and they struggle with it. And then you have assholes who are making tweets like I said, like, oh my god, this is your GOAT. Yeah, that's my GOAT struggling because people are so demandful. It just saddens me, I guess. And that's one of the few things that after the pandemic I think has just gotten worse. So yeah, that was probably a downer to finish on. Apologies for that. But there are a few questions that didn't get asked in the Q&A that I do get asked quite often. So I'll just flick over those ones very quickly as well so I don't leave on a Debbie Downer. So a question I get asked a lot. How old are you? I am 26. Where are you from? I am from Birmingham, UK. I think those are questions I get asked a few times as well, which I have not covered, or I was not asked today anyways. So, oh my god, I've just forgotten. I need to read out the comments. So Jeff from Mother's Basement said, no question, but congrats on the huge milestone. Another comment was, I've been reading manga for many years now, and even though I never considered myself an expert, I thought I was knowledgeable enough. It proved to me that I still have a lot to learn, and I think that's fantastic. Thank you. Another one was, I'm so glad that I found your channel some years ago. Your recommendations are always incredible and it gave me some of my favourite readings ever. I legit started Witch Hat Atelier because of your video on it. Yes! I don't have a question, but I wanted to say your videos never fail to inspire me. Every video is so well put together and thoughtful. We started making videos around the same time, and I can't think of any newer creator working in the space who deserves to reach 100,000 more. Your editing is god tier, bro. I love your work. As someone studying multimedia arts and aspiring to become a comic artist, your videos always remind me why I pursued the arts and will forever love storytelling through comics. I really like your channel. I truly enjoy and think I learned a lot with almost every single video. Even with the language barrier, I still like it all. And then the last comment is, no questions here. Just wanted to say that your channel and content is of the highest quality and it enriches all of us. Thank you and congratulations. Oh my god, you guys are so nice. Thank you so much to any comment, to any and all of the questions that was asked. I tried to cover as many as I could, but I've been recording now for close to 3 hours and I'm shattered from the day and I've got to get up early tomorrow. So if I didn't answer your question, I apologize. But if you follow me on Twitter, you can ask me questions there. I'm on Twitter every single day. I don't have a life, like I've said, so feel free to DM me or ask me on there or at me, whatever you wish. So that's the Q&A. And comments done. So tomorrow I'm going to be going to some manga stores, buying a whole lot of manga, and I'll do a manga haul towards the end of the video and maybe showing off some other bits and bobs that I got as well. So if you want to stay for that, feel free. And thank you guys again for all the lovely comments and stuff that you've asked. I genuinely appreciate every single one, and it's hard sometimes to express just how much gratitude I have for it. So yeah, thank you again to everyone for the questions and the comments. And now it's time to go buy some lovely manga. So I visited Cafe Nero just to refuel some nerdy energy because I knew I was going to need that when visiting Forbidden Planet. There's one of these back home for me, but the size comparison is pretty large. I always make a habit to glance over the plushies and figures, especially if I'm looking for anything Animal Crossing, but I was on a slight buying ban this time around because I'm really running out of space. This Forbidden Planet has a way bigger selection and actually had a book section too with some signed covers, so I took a sneaky look over there before glancing over to the comic books. But I was mostly there for manga, so I headed straight to that section and voila, manga overload. Because I'm nerdy and perhaps over-organised, I wrote down this massive list of all the manga that I wanted to buy down to their volume numbers. I then noticed one bestie not too far from the other bestie, and then was actually pretty shocked at just how much Nana was available on the shelves, because that's been pretty hard to collect online. And after that I did a quick little sweep over the comics section again, just to get some research in and maybe some ideas, because I really want to do a comic recommendation video, hopefully soon-ish actually. Okay, so I've just got back from Forbidden Planet. I forgot to take a photo of the front of the shop, but for those who don't know, Forbidden Planet is like a massive manga and comic store in the UK, and London has the biggest one, I'm pretty sure, or at least a massive one anyways. So I bought some manga, so I'm going to go through what I bought, just a little manga haul. One of the great things about Forbidden Planet is that they do a 3 for 2 sale, so I just got a lot in 3s, so I was able to get stuff for cheaper. So the first 2 that I got that are in the same series is Alice in Borderland. I kind of talked about Alice in Borderland a little bit on the Q&A video about really liking the show. I'm currently reading the manga, so I've been reading it just physically as I buy them. I'm really looking forward to reading this. I got the missing chapter of Skip and Loafer that I don't have. It's very bright, I'm only just realising now. But yeah, Skip and Loafer. And I've only just realised they've kind of done a Mike Wazowski on Shima. Like, he's just completely blocked out, but oh well. Yeah, Skip and Loafer. Goodbye Eddie, which I've read. I just don't own it physically, and I got Look Back physically like a month ago, so it only seems fitting to get this one. And then of course we got my absolute favourite Dungeon Meshi. I didn't manage to get volume 13 for a while. It was actually sold out at the comic store near me, so I was able to get it here. Then I got Witch Hat Atelier Kitchen 2 and 3. I think 3 just came out, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I'm glad to have those on the shelves. I love this spin-off so much. It's so fun. But speaking of Shirahara Kamome, I got this, which I didn't even realise was in like a manga form, and it's the Star Wars Visions, the anime that came out. They've done a manga version of it, which is awesome because I love Star Wars. I love Studio... Was it Trigger that did this one? No, it wasn't Trigger. However, Shirahara Kamome did do the designs for it, and they're on the cover. Her name's at the bottom as well, so this will be awesome to put next to the other Shirahara Kamome stuff, because I absolutely love the designs that she did for this series. As usual, I love her character designs. And then I finally managed to get Magie Lumiere. I'm so glad that this has come out in physical now. I love this series and could not recommend this enough, especially if you're a My Hero fan but you want it to be more so aimed maybe at people who want to see a like female cast more so. Absolutely great manga. And then the last thing I got isn't a manga, it's a comic, but it's one that I read this a little bit of a while ago but I never got it physically. And that is Hockey Girl Loves Drama Boy. I am looking to do a comic recommendation video this year rather than a manga one, just because I haven't really read enough new manga to make up a list for a recommendation video. However, I know a lot of comics, I have a lot of favourites, and I know a lot of people aren't into comics so much anymore, especially like compared to like years and years ago. I feel like people have kind of dwindled a little bit from comics, but I can tell you right now there are so many good comics out there, and I think if you're a manga fan and you haven't delved into comics, like, I mean, this is very much like, this feels like a manga format, right? It's a great, fun and cute series, but I have a lot more comics that I want to recommend, so keep an eye out for that one. And then last but not least, this isn't a manga, but this is a little figure. It's the Q Posket figures, and it's the Cararpikt one. I have the Gon one at home. I think I've got the Killua one on order. Okay, I can't open it, so I'll just put some footage here of what it looks like once I've opened it when I get back at home. So yeah, that's what I got from Forbidden Planet. I saved up quite a bit of money knowing I was going to do a pretty big manga haul. Now what I've got to do, I've got to check out within the next 20 minutes, which is fine because I'm all packed and ready. So I've got to go downstairs. I'm going to go to the little cafe that they've got down there, and I'm going to ring my sister and I'm going to drop all of my crap at her place so as later I can just pick it up and go to the train station. Yeah, let's get going. When I finally managed to meet up with my sister, we spent most of the day in Chinatown, to be honest. I'd never been before and fancied eating as much as I could before I had to travel back home, so we had these absolutely banging potato corn dogs. After a little walk and had a little bit of a chat, we then brought some custard taiyaki, which were a great snack to end the day on too. So this is going to be the last appearance of Editor Me, and the reason I've popped up is because I never actually made an outro to this video after I got back from London because I was so shattered from the day. I don't think I had any energy to even do an outro, so here I am to do it. I just wanted to end this video by saying an absolutely massive thank you to everyone who asked a question, anyone who left a comment, anyone who is watching this video, especially if you've watched right to the end. I appreciate every single one of you guys, and I would not be here if it weren't for you, genuinely. So from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it, and I hope to keep creating content that you guys love. So thank you so much for watching to the end. I appreciate you guys a lot. I'll see you in the next one.